My name is Miriam Levy, and I am 34 years old. 2 years ago, I was a civil engineer managing construction projects in Haifa, focused on building residential complexes and planning infrastructure. Today, I am a mother doing everything possible to keep my 6-year-old daughter, Shira, alive and emotionally whole in the middle of a war that has stolen our home, our security, and nearly our sanity. I was born in Kiryat Shmona, a small town in northern Israel near the Lebanese border. My father was an electrician, my mother a nurse. They taught me that resilience wasn't just about surviving, it was about maintaining dignity and protecting those you love, no matter the circumstances. After earning my engineering degree from the Technion in Haifa, I worked on major projects, apartment buildings, roads, water systems. I married David, a high school mathematics teacher, and we had Shira 3 years into our marriage. Life was predictable, comfortable. I thought I knew what stress meant: deadline pressures, budget constraints, difficult clients. March 15th, 2023, taught me I knew nothing about real fear. We were at my parents' house in Kiryat Shmona for the weekend when the attacks began. David's phone rang first, his school principal calling about a security emergency. Then my mother's phone. Then mine. Within minutes, we understood. This wasn't a routine escalation. The rockets started before noon. We rushed to my parents' reinforced room, a tiny space meant for 4 people, now sheltering 6. Shira clung to me, asking questions I couldn't answer. "Mama, why are the bad sounds coming?" My father tried distracting her with stories while explosions shook the walls. That first day lasted forever. Between rocket barrages, we'd emerge for water, food, bathroom breaks. Then sirens would sound again, and we'd scramble back to safety. Shira stopped asking questions by evening. She just held her stuffed rabbit and stared at nothing. On the 3rd day, David made a decision that would haunt me. I need to go back to Haifa. The school is organizing evacuations, and I can help coordinate transport for families. He was always like that, thinking of others before himself. "It's too dangerous," I begged. "Miriam, people need help. I'll be back in 2 days." He never came back. The phone call came from David's colleague. "Miriam, there was a rocket strike near the school." David was helping load children onto buses when the rest dissolved into static and my own screaming. Shira watched me collapse. A 6-year-old shouldn't have to see her mother break like that. But war doesn't care what children should or shouldn't see. My parents held me while I sobbed. But there was no time for proper grief. Rockets still fell. Shira needed me functional, not shattered. The funeral happened during a brief ceasefire. 17 minutes to bury my husband before sirens sent everyone running back to shelters. Shira held my hand at the graveside, silent and pale. When the sirens sounded, she didn't cry or panic. She just squeezed my hand tighter and started walking toward the nearest shelter without being told. That's when I realized my daughter was learning to live in war, and I had to protect not just her physical safety, but her childhood itself. The weeks after David's death blurred together. My parents' house became a permanent shelter. Northern towns were being evacuated, but my mother refused to leave. "This is our home. We don't abandon our home." But home had become a trap. Rockets fell daily, sometimes hourly. The Iron Dome intercepted most, but not all. Our neighborhood took direct hits. The Cohen family's house destroyed. The grocery store owner killed in his shop. The elementary school reduced to rubble. Shira stopped sleeping through the night. Every sound sent her into panic. She'd wake up screaming for her father, and I'd hold her in the dark, lying that everything would be okay. I tried maintaining normalcy. We'd do schoolwork between alerts, reading lessons interrupted by explosions, math problems solved in the shelter. I'd cook meals while monitoring my phone for incoming warnings. We'd play games, but Shira's laughter always sounded forced. Mechanical. The turning point came 6 weeks after David's death. Shira and I were walking to my parents' house from a neighbor's when sirens sounded. We were caught in the open 60 seconds to reach shelter, but we were 90 seconds away. I grabbed Shira and ran, my engineering mind calculating angles and distances. We wouldn't make it to the designated shelter, but there was a construction site nearby, an unfinished building with a partially reinforced basement. Pulled Shira down concrete steps as the first explosion hit. The blast wave knocked us forward. I covered Shira's body with mine as debris rained down. Something sharp hit my back glass or metal, I couldn't tell. Then a second explosion closer. The building shook. Dust filled my lungs. Mama! Shira's scream cut through the chaos. I'm here, baby. I'm here. When the barrage ended, I discovered blood soaking my shirt. Shrapnel had ended in my shoulder and back. But Shira was unharmed. My body had shielded her completely. At the hospital, a doctor extracted metal fragments while I refused sedation. I need to stay alert for my daughter, I insisted. The nurse cleaning my wounds said quietly, "You saved her life." That kind of love leaves scars. Those scars became my badge of honor. Every time I saw them in the mirror, I remembered I'd endured pain to protect my child. I would do it again without hesitation, but physical wounds heal faster than emotional ones. Shira developed severe anxiety. She couldn't be more than a few meters from me without panicking. Nightmares plagued her constantly. She stopped speaking in complete sentences, regressing to single-word responses. I found a child psychologist, Dr. Hannah Klein, who is treating traumatized children via video calls. Your daughter has classic PTSD symptoms, Dr. Klein explained during our first session. The loss of her father, the constant danger, witnessing your injury, it's overwhelming her developing brain. How do I help her? I asked desperately. Consistency, safety, routine, but that's nearly impossible in active combat. You're trying to provide stability while everything around her is chaos. Dr. Klein taught me techniques, grounding exercises for panic attacks, art therapy to express emotions Shira couldn't verbalize, play therapy to process trauma through stories and dolls. I became therapist, mother, and protector simultaneously. We created rituals that gave Shira some control. Every morning, we'd choose her outfit together, a small decision in a world where she had no choices. We'd name 3 things we could see, hear, and touch, grounding her in the present instead of traumatic memories. We'd draw pictures of safe places she wanted to visit when the war ended. I found a child psychologist, Dr. Hannah Klein, who was treating traumatized children via video calls. Your daughter has classic PTSD symptoms, Dr. Klein explained during our first session. The loss of her father, the constant danger, witnessing your injury, it's overwhelming her developing brain. How do I help her? I asked desperately. Consistency, safety, routine, but that's nearly impossible in active combat. You're trying to provide stability while everything around her is chaos. Dr. Klein taught me techniques, grounding exercises for panic attacks, art therapy to express emotions Shira couldn't verbalize, play therapy to process trauma through stories and dolls. I became therapist, mother, and protector simultaneously. We created rituals that gave Shira some control. Every morning, we'd choose her outfit together, a small decision in a world where she had no choices. We'd name 3 things we could see, hear, and touch, grounding her in the present instead of traumatic memories. We'd draw pictures of safe places she wanted to visit when the war ended, but reality kept shattering our fragile progress. A rocket struck the building next to my parents' house, killing 4 people we knew. Shira witnessed the aftermath, bodies covered with sheets, sobbing relatives, emergency workers searching rubble. That night, she looked at me with ancient eyes. "Mama, are we going to die too?" How do you answer that honestly while still giving hope? I'm going to do everything possible to keep us safe, I said. I can't promise nothing bad will happen, but I promise I'll never stop fighting to protect you. Like when you covered me with your body, exactly like that, always. My own trauma was numbing too. I couldn't sleep more than 2 hours at a time. Every loud noise sent my heart racing. I'd have panic attacks in the shower, the only place I could break down without Shira seeing that my mother noticed. Miriam, you need help too. You can't care for Shira if you're falling apart. She was right. I started virtual therapy sessions with Dr. Rebecca Roth, a trauma specialist. You're experiencing combat-level PTSD while trying to parent a traumatized child, Dr. Roth explained. That's an impossible burden without support. The sessions helped me understand my responses weren't weakness, they were normal reactions to abnormal circumstances. Dr. Roth taught me that protecting Shira included showing her that adults could be scared and still keep going. 3 months after David's death, evacuation orders came for our area. The military deemed northern towns too dangerous for civilian population. We had 48 hours to leave. My mother finally agreed to evacuate. We packed what we could carry: clothes, documents, photo albums. Shira wanted to bring everything, understanding that leaving meant abandoning our life. Can we take Daddy's books? She asked, standing in David's study. The shelves held hundreds of volumes, mathematics texts, novels, philosophy books he'd loved. We could take maybe 5. Choose your favorites, I said, throat tight. She selected 5 carefully, including the children's math book David had used to teach her counting. We left the rest behind. The evacuation convoy moved slowly south. Every few kilometers, we'd stop for rocket alerts. Shira sat in her car seat, clutching David's books, eerily calm. She'd learned that tears didn't stop rockets. Panic didn't help. Fear was just background noise. Now, that broke my heart more than anything, my 6-year-old daughter's acceptance of violence as normal. We were relocated to a temporary shelter in central Israel, a hotel requisitioned for evacuees. 1 room for me, Shira, and my parents. 73 other families in the same building, all displaced, traumatized, grieving. The shelter had basic security, but nothing was truly safe. Rockets reached central Israel too, though less frequently. We had bomb shelters, warning systems, some semblance of routine. Shira started attending a makeshift school for evacuee children. Teachers struggled to provide education while kids processed trauma. Class would stop mid-lesson for rocket alerts. Children would file calmly to shelter, then return to math problems as if nothing happened. I found work consulting remotely for my old engineering firm. They were understanding about my circumstances, flexible hours, trauma-informed management. The work helped me maintain identity beyond war widow and traumatized mother. But guilt consumed me. Guilt that David died while I survived. Guilt that Shira lost her father. Guilt that I couldn't protect her from emotional damage. Guilt that I sometimes resented the burden of single parenthood during war. Dr. Roth helped me process this. Survivor's guilt is normal, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. You're human, not superhuman. But Shira needs me to be superhuman. No, she needs you to be real. Children need to see adults being authentically strong, which includes acknowledging fear and pain while still moving forward. I started being more honest with Shira when I was scared during rocket alerts. I'd say so. Mom was frightened too, but we're safe here together. When I miss David, I'd tell her, I'm sad thinking about Daddy today. It's okay to be sad. This honesty transformed our relationship. Shira began expressing her own emotions more freely. I'm angry Daddy died, she'd say. I'm scared you'll die too. I'm angry too, I'd answer. and I understand your fear. I'm going to do everything I can to stay safe. 6 months into our displacement, Shira had a breakthrough in therapy. Dr. Klein had been using play therapy dolls representing our family, allowing Shira to act out scenarios and emotions. During one session, Shira created a scene where the mama doll protected the daughter doll from danger. Then both dolls cried together afterward. "Why are they crying?" Dr. Klein asked. "Because being brave is scary," Shira answered. "But they're together, so it's okay." That simple insight showed me Shira was processing her trauma, understanding that courage didn't mean absence of fear. It meant acting despite fear. Our shelter community became a support network. Other mothers shared childcare, grief, coping strategies. We created a support group for war widows, 8 women who understood loss in ways others could and single quotes T.1 evening. Sarah, another widow, said something that resonated. "We didn't choose this war, but we're choosing how we survive it. We're choosing to protect our children's humanity in circumstances designed to destroy it." That became my mantra. I couldn't control the war, David's death, or the danger surrounding us, but I could control how I responded with courage, honesty, and absolute commitment to preserving Shira's childhood as much as possible. We established new routines in the shelter: morning walks before school, evening story time, weekly video calls with relatives, small normalcies anchoring us to humanity when everything else felt unmoored. Shira started smiling more genuinely. She made friends with other evacuee children kids who understood her experience without explanation. They play games with improvised rules, hide and seek, but if sirens sound, everyone goes to the shelter without argument. War had become so normalized that children adopted their play to include it. 1 year after David's death, I took Shira to visit his grave. She'd requested this trip, wanting to talk to Daddy. At the cemetery, she sat by his headstone and spoke quietly. I couldn't hear everything, but caught fragments. ... miss you, ... mama. Single quote, "is taking care of me, ... still scared. Sometimes ... but we're okay, ... afterward." She held my hand as we walked back to the car. "Mama, do you think Daddy would be proud of us?" "Yes, baby. So proud. Even though we're scared a lot, especially because we're scared but keep going anyway." Now, in September 2025, the war continues. We're still displaced, still in danger, still grieving. Shira is now 8 years old, and the past 2.5 years have shaped her in ways no child should experience. She still has nightmares, and I still carry physical and emotional scars, but we're surviving not just physically, but emotionally. We're creating meaning from chaos, finding strength in vulnerability, protecting love in the midst of violence. Last week, Shira drew a picture in school. It showed 2 figures holding hands, one larger, one smaller, standing in front of a house with the sun shining overhead. "That's us in the future," she explained. "When the war is over and we have a home again, we're still together." That picture sits by my bed now. When rockets wake me at night, when grief overwhelms me, when fear makes me doubt I can continue, I look at that drawing and remember why I endure. I endure because Shira needs me, because David would want me to protect our daughter, because childhood deserves protection even in war, because love persists even when everything else breaks. I am Miriam Levy. I am a widow, a mother, an engineer, a survivor. I carry scars from protecting my child, and I'd earn 1,000 more if necessary. The war has taken much from us, but it hasn't taken everything. We still have each other. We still have hope. We still have the courage to face tomorrow. And as long as I'm breathing, I'll stand between danger and my daughter, enduring whatever pain necessary to keep her safe, whole, and able to imagine a future where the sun shines and homes exist beyond shelters, because that's what mothers do in war. We transform fear into protection, pain into purpose, and devastation into determination. Shira's childhood has been marked by violence, but it will also be marked by my absolute refusal to let violence win. That's my promise to her, to David's memory, and to myself. Tomorrow we'll wake to uncertainty again. Maybe rockets will fall. Maybe we'll have moments of peace. Either way, we'll face it together, scarred, scared, but unbroken. This is our story of surviving between pain and courage. It's not the story I wanted to write, but it's the story I'm living, one day at a time, one moment of protection at a time, one act of love at a time. And somehow, impossibly, we continue forward.